Hello again. Talking about automated trade systems, talking about trading cryptocurrencies, and talking about, I guess, all the things that, that have gone well and haven't gone well with this particular implementation of a trading system. So to catch everything up, this is another one of these updates. For a while, I was doing them weekly, but the trading system fell on hard times, man. We kicked off this trading system, as you can see here in this little overview dashboard, 63 days ago. So let's just call that, a little bit more than 2 months. And pretty much a week and a half, 2 weeks after we did that, the market took a pretty big crash. So, I've just been kind of chill about that and decided, hey, this is a good way to stress test this thing. Like, how does this perform when the entire market has a downward swing? And can it basically get back on its own feet without me manually intervening? I bring this up because in a previous iteration of trading system, there was a bit of manual intervention I had to do because the system, if it's not that smart, it's going to buy into situations like you would see over here maybe. If your system's not that smart, it might detect like here's a local minima, and then it's going to maybe buy in right here, and you really don't have an opportunity to sell at a profit at that point. So indeed, the original system I built a long time ago was really, really basic and just trying to exploit the fact that the price is going to go down, it's going to go up, and it's going to go down, it's going to go up. And it was very naive and said, hey, if we are at a local minimum and we have a slot available, one of our two open slots for this symbol, where the symbol would be, Bitcoin versus the US dollar or Ethereum versus the US dollar, it would be deciding to buy in, if all those conditions were met. So now coming back to this system, trying to be a little bit smarter about it, we've built this thing using, like actual feature engineering, looking at prices over time, trying to build our own features that describe how the price is moving currently versus various degrees of, history. And so you could even, you compare a value, how it's doing now compared to X time periods ago, compared to Y time periods ago, Z time periods ago, start to mix features together, like calculating all kinds of wild price features, which we've done. We built a model that is it's using XGBoost to come up with some predictions about, hey, is this a good time to get into the market or not? And what we can see here is that we have completed in those 2 months, we've completed we've completed 59 transactions where the trading system said, hey, let's enter the market now. And then at a later point in time, that became profitable enough to sell. Also, the way the system's working is it's using the XGBoost model to decide when to buy, but it's a little bit more liberal on how it decides to sell. So, for example, if you limit to selling at only local maxima, what's your basis for deciding if it's a local maximum? If you use the smoothed out price, keep in mind that opportunity only comes around every once in a while. Whereas maybe you want to look at the actual price and you realize, for example, this spike right here, that's not a local maximum. The only time you're going to be reflecting a local maximum in like a smoothed out version of a price is when the price has already gone back down. So maybe you want to buy in at some kind of, relative dip, but then when it comes time to sell, you might want to be on the lookout for, dramatic spikes. And then if you have a certain, if you're maybe, your spike is dramatic enough and you're already profitable, maybe that's a good time to get out of that trade and close it off. Anyways, that's how things have been rolling. And when the system fell on hard times, just decided to just let it run. And even though we bought in at like, let's say, $1 and now the price is at 70 cents, You could implement some kind of stop loss or something, but my life is not depending on this model. This is all for fun for me, and so I decided, let's see if this thing can work its way out of the problem. For the most part, it's working its way out. Let's see if we look at some of the trading information here. We can see that there's, this isn't even what I want, not the sell orders. I would like to see the buy first orders. Okay. So what we can see here is we are buying in, and every time we have a buy first order, you buy first, then you sell second. It's kind of the terminology I'm using here. But as we buy in, I just have this little sheet I can come to where it's a hideous data visualization, right? But it's very informative for me to see the things in red that are telling me this is, by my definition of how old a trade should be. Ideally, kind of in the early phase before the market swung down, we were seeing that trades were completing on average in 7 or 8 days. So ideally, I would like to be seeing that. That seems like a reasonable time period to me in any case. And we can see that this list used to be like I had to scroll through it because we had so many trades that had been initiated, and then the market downturn hit, and then we weren't able to close those out. We're just sitting here in a holding pattern, waiting for those to come back around. And now we can see it's starting to look a little healthier. A lot of this stuff that happened in the earliest parts of February still frozen in time, and we'll see if it works itself out eventually. But yeah, we have actually seen, if we hop over into another one of these dashboards, we have been seeing in the trade funnel, some of these trades that were frozen for a while have started to sell. So the duration of trades, sell second, down here in the bottom left. You can see that these trades that are over here on the left-hand side, this x-axis is increasing in age. So the ones on the left are the trades that completed in the shortest amount of time. The trades on the right are the ones that completed in the longest amount of time. And you can see this like almost trying to be a normal distribution, and then it skews really, really far right. This is all of this over here are the trades that lasted like 43 days, 44 days, 50 days, and these were things that were opened over here. Here we can see the buy first perspective. Some of these trades were opened, back in late February, early March, and then have just been frozen in time, waiting for selling conditions to be profitable. By the way, this thing is just coded. It's a decision I made by design that it can never sell at a loss. So I don't do any stop loss or anything like that. My goal is to make the system err on the side of being conservative when buying in. I would I've since running into this problem with the market downturn, I put in a little bit of custom rule-based logic that kind of gatekeeps the XGBoost model, and it's going to say, by the way, we're only going to buy in if our price right now relative to some historical data is not indicating that we're in the highest 80% of where prices have been seen. So I feel like it's just a good judgment call to say, hey, does the model think that this is a good time to buy in? And then have a sanity check that says, hey, by the way, are we low enough compared to historical prices to where we're not buying in at an all-time high right now? That kind of has some false dip or something. Some kind of you know what I mean. So we don't want to buy in at a local minimum that's that's actually part of at a different time scale, a local maximum. So that is pretty much it for the update. I feel like I've already talked a bunch. And I'm going to just keep waiting and seeing how things go, because ideally we make the model better. We build better features that make the model without having to babysit it with rule-based boundaries. I would like to see this thing move in the direction of making very solid entry points to the market, and I would like to be smart enough to design features that help the model decide, hey, we're looking for a point in time that we're looking for a buy-in into the market where these core features over here indicate, yes, this is indeed a good time to enter. If we're not seeing these values in a certain range, we don't want to enter. I don't want to have to manually set even one of those boundaries. In an ideal world, I would like the model to be picking up on all of that. So it just requires better feature engineering. It requires better data to kind of go back and figure out where's the model making decisions I don't like. And luckily enough, we have all the historical data, so we can go back and we can kind of recreate what the picture looked like, as those decisions were getting made. And so we can really kind of be reflective about what went wrong, what in our logic might be wrong, and how can we make it better. So looking forward to doing that. And this is the first update in a little while, but there's not really much to update on when you got so many trades just kind of frozen in time. So we'll see. Hopefully the remaining ones that were initiated in February and early March will figure themselves out over time. And then we'll hopefully get to see how this thing performs when there aren't the insanely dramatic movements. Kind of want to see how this plays out when it's just the kind of bouncing back and forth between reasonable minima and maxima. That's it for this update, and see you next time.